Hello and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. Where we left off, we had just landed our Kerbal on the moon. And, well, for now, there's pretty much nothing to do except enjoy the physics of the moon. Obviously, there's much lower gravity, which means when you jump, you float pretty high. And as much as Mario tells us you can, it's actually physically impossible to change directions mid-jump. And so this follows real physics. But anyway, it actually is possible to change position mid-jump with what is known as an EVA pack. It's I forget actually what the EVA stands for. But it does have limited fuel. You can check that by right-clicking your character. But when you run out, you can actually just hop inside the command pod to refill that fuel pack. And if you hit the ground too hard, you do kinda lose control of yourself, which can be quite awful if you're going at a high velocity. Laterally, I mean. You will go bouncing and rolling across kilometers across the surface of the moon. I have done it before. It's pretty bad. Now, some of you may wonder, is it actually possible to travel through space with this suit? Yes and no. It is a reaction control system, which means it does have, well, it is designed with the primary purpose of being used in space. But as far as getting to space from a planet, not so much. Yeah, at least not this one or Kerbin. There's actually just a tad too much gravity to actually get into orbit with an EVA pack on the moon. With a little bit of a boost, it is possible, and has actually been done before. I've seen somebody get into orbit, but only just into orbit. He essentially ran out just in time to get his guy in orbit, and had to send a rescue ship to pick up the poor guy. It's a very neat video, and I would suggest you all go watch Scott Manley. He's an actual rocket scientist or astrophysicist of some sort, I don't remember what, but his videos are very neat to watch, and they are probably a lot more informed than mine will be. But anyway, this guy has decided he completely forgot all his science tools, and other than hopping around and floating, the surface of the moon is kind of boring, and since he's here alone, rather lonely as well. So he's decided it is about time to try and get back home. However, there is a slight problem with getting back. And that is getting back at the right time. As with getting here, there's actually a very nice visual clue. You want to wait till you're about 30 degrees out, so about like this. That might be 15, but anyway, you want to actually watch the Earth rise over the horizon. And there's a nice little thing in game. It doesn't exist in the real world. Or these do exist in the real world, actually. It's a nebula, and it's basically an artificial horizon. This nebula is the exact same orbital inclination of not only Kerbin and the moon, but just about every star system in the every single planetoid in the game. Except for that one little outer dwarf planet. It has a quite inclined orbit, but everything else, for the most part, what is that there that doesn't either? That is Duna, I believe. No, it's Trace. Duna is there. Yeah, I don't know this much about the other planets. I haven't actually attempted any missions to outside planets. It takes a lot more math than a trip to the moon. But anyway, what we need to do is wait, so lucky us, we have time acceleration. Is anything happening? Oh, wait a second. Never mind. It's not a specific position. Actually, I forgot about that. The moon is actually on a, I forget the word. I think it's a geostationary orbit, where the same... No, it's not geostationary. That's the opposite side. But anyway, whatever it's called, the same face of the moon is facing the Earth at all times. And I think that is because it is also true of the real moon. This shows you just about how much I know about the game. I have not ever actually tried flying back before, so this will be a new experience. Now, what I need to do is actually figure out which direction is moonward. Oh wait, I forgot. We don't wait till we're there, we fly till we're there. So, we need hopefully to fly away from the side the Earth is on, and I can't tell which direction we are. Ideally, we should be able to see the Earth on the horizon, just on the horizon, if this map is correct. But it doesn't seem to be true. So, unfortunately, we're probably going to have to guess. There's a big star right inside the nebula in this direction. A really big star. So let's see if we can find that really big star. That looks like it's it. Let's check the other way. Yeah, that pretty much proves it. I think it's that way. Oh yes, there was the... We just got a good view of the Earth. Technically, as far as the astronauts, yeah, that was kind of cheating. But anyway, a nice tool for this is the chase cam. Wait a second, I can't... Oh no. It doesn't seem like this one has a chase cam. What we need to do is actually find out which way we're oriented. Because okay. Thankfully, we're actually pretty close to already oriented the right way. Now, getting in orbit around the moon is ridiculously simple. There's no atmosphere to fight, so you can pretty much level off immediately. We actually want to get a little bit of additional height here, because, we don't want to hit any of the mountains. The surface of the moon is not perfectly flat. So anyway, we should actually probably stop. I think we just passed escape velocity. Oh, nope. But we do need to stop. We definitely need to stop. In fact, I think we actually made it to escape velocity. Let's check. Yeah, we totally did. Let's see how we're doing. Ooh, that's bad. Underestimating the engines is a pretty bad thing to do. However, we're in no danger at all of hitting anything, so that's good news. This is actually the first time I have ever gotten to the moon with enough fuel left over to actually attempt to fly back. Okay, so let's get that apoapsis back into a more manageable location. going to say about 100,000 is good. Okay, that is good enough for me. Now actually, it looks like that apoapsis is going to be pretty much at our visual aid. That's pretty much where we want to be to start burning for the return trip. We don't have a stable location around the moon, but it doesn't matter because we don't really need to go around more than a fraction of one time. Okay, so as we get closer, we need to slow our time warp back down to 1, and then we need to carefully accelerate back past, back to escape velocity, which I believe is somewhere around 700 for the moon. We're now in a stable orbit, so that's one thing to note. Now, what we want to do is try and get this thing just picture perfect so we graze through the atmosphere of the Earth. And we are going to be quite a ways off from that. So we can actually put a maneuver node out here and try burning in such a way that actually pulls our orbit closer to the Earth. And that is still way out. These maneuver nodes, by the way, are nice little things that allow you to add or subtract velocity in a certain direction, and then when you're done with your maneuver, a little blue indicator will appear on your nav ball telling you the exact direction to burn and for exactly how long, as indicated by this green bar here, in order to perform the maneuver you wish to perform. So like this, 70,000, we want to get to about 40. 29 might be a bit steep. 39, that's good. I think that'll do just fine. Okay, so now we just need to actually get there. So, oh, by the way, I might as well just get to it and show you. This little blue targeting reticule looking thing is the vector we need to burn in order to do this maneuver, which will put us in a return trajectory with the Earth. And so we're coming in. Let's check our fuel. We still have plenty of fuel. And 2 minutes. We want to still time warp, because waiting a whole nother minute for this maneuver would be quite annoying. And we want to be really careful because the estimated burn time is 1 second. The calculator has been known to be fairly far off before. In this game, I've had estimated burns explode in an amount of time before. Like that, went up to 12. So, let's just go full burn. And as it gets closer, you want to get more careful because that little bit you may have been off will actually make this thing move. And cut it. Okay, we can do just a little bit more precise. And there we go. That's pretty much as good as we're gonna get it. Now what you want to do is definitely kill these things once you're done with them. And let's see how close we got. We got a little closer than I would have liked to get, but I think we're gonna be good. Okay, now we want to time warp towards the planet, and actually there is one last piece of something we want to do as we get closer to the planet. There it is. When we get close enough, it's going to slow our time warp down, by the way. There's a maximum time warp you can do based on how fast you're traveling. And we're about to be in the atmosphere, which means our maximum time warp is 1. Now what's going to happen as we see that atmosphere indicator at the top of the screen increase, we're actually going to start bleeding off this velocity. However, we have some extra fuel, so we might as well use it. Burn retrograde. This will start to slow us down a bit. And I'm gonna say I'll probably, if we get ourselves down to 200 to 2,000 in time for the atmosphere. In fact, we're already on a return trajectory. Why do I... Okay, I must have had it on orbital. Anyway, the actual reason we're coming in and we took the extra pains to get that orbit down to about, how close we got it to the Earth is because when you get into the atmosphere will bleed off your velocity. And anyway, that will go crash down somewhere on the planet, and we simply don't need any of it anymore. Anyway, we might as well deploy a parachute. It's on an automatic, altitude-based deployment method. But anyway, there is really not much to see here. And also, the time warp, I should explain why you have that. There is a physical limit to the computer as far as the time warp goes. As you can see, we have those 4 little arrows up in the corner. We can time warp physically, but the thing is, what we're doing is we're actually telling the physics engine to calculate everything 4 times as quickly as we normally would want it to. And that's 4 times is about as much as any computer, as a standard computer, will be able to handle. However, when you're in space, you don't really need to worry about physics. There's not a whole lot of physics acting on you. There's nothing really but the, well, I say nothing. There's not very much, except for the tensile strength of your spaceship and the orbit it's on, and the orbit is pretty much preset. And so, since you're in space and you have a preset orbit, there's not hardly anything for it to calculate. And if you're not applying velocity, then there's no forces acting on your spaceship, and so there's nothing to do, there's nothing to calculate while you're just floating through space. And so we have, the possibility for 10,000 times regular speed. But anyway, as we can see by our time indicator, this mission was about 14 days long. And that seems quite long for a moon mission, but that's because of that little blunder I just had on the moon of thinking we needed to time accelerate to a certain position. This is, anyway, as you can tell, not true. And one of the mistakes I would advise you not to do is never try to fly straight towards the Earth on your return. The straighter down you have, the more of your velocity will be downward, and thus the less of your velocity you will be able to kill as you're descending. Which means that even though you have parachute, it could simply be torn off by the forces rather than actually save your butt. And that's not very good. But anyway, we're descending down quite a lot. I think the safe deployment speed for this is somewhere around 80 meters per second. And we're still quite a distance from the Earth. We're actually... but we are landing on the mountains, so this might actually be a little close. let's see. I might have killed off a little too much velocity out in space. Let's check our altimeter. There's an actual altimeter on the thing. Sounds like our thing deployed. Deploys at 500, as you can see right here. And yeah, looks like we killed off enough velocity for that. So anyway, we are going to slowly touch down, and nobody really wants to watch that. But anyway, we'll touch down soon enough. 4 times physical time acceleration is kind of nice, if only for that. So anyway, my little guy has returned to excuse me, has returned to the planet Kerbal, where he can fall over, apparently. Whoops. Well, let's grab that, because he seems to have gotten a little stuck. The physics errors of video games. Anyway, as you can tell, on Earth the EVA pack is pretty much useless. He's got that massive spacesuit on, and that weighs him down a lot, so he can barely even jump as it is. However, there's one nice thing about being on the moon. You are actually allowed to quote-unquote run. It's moderately faster than walking, but you're not going to get anywhere anytime soon. So anyway, we might as well get back in and end this mission. So, I have actually done a classic blunder of forgetting how long I've been recording. I forgot to check what time we started. Yeah. So, alright, so I might end it here if it ends up being too long, but I had a little bit more I'm going to show you. So, if I cut it here, ta-ta for now.